All right, welcome everybody. Happy Wednesday. My thought for you today is a little reminder, right, that we practice. Why do we practice? We practice in the times when we think we don't need it, so that in the moments where we really do need something to steady us, we've created that automatic response, right? We've created that automatic awareness that we know to go in the direction of our internal center and not reaching for whatever we usually do. So I feel like this is one of those teachings that we need to reiterate over and over and over again, because we forget. Right? We forget that we're not practicing just to feel good, that we're practicing so that in those moments of intenseness, the moments of chaos, the moments of crazy, that we're able to know where to return back to, right? So whatever your momentary experience of finding your center is today, is pay attention to how you got there, right? Pay attention to the steps of what it felt like to go through those layers of you that were not fully in the intensity of the moment, but we're not yet fully at ease. Because this is what we're always looking for, is not just how do I get there and stay there, but what's that in-between journey, right? The journey back to the center, the journey back to balance, the journey back to peace. Is that's what we're relearning every single day over and over and over again. And that's really why we practice, right? So we practice finding those roots over and over and over again, those ways in over and over again, so that when you're in the moment of reaction, or you're in the moment of whatever is going on, is you can turn and say, what's my way back to that center, right? I've walked this path before. I know how to get there. So remember that that's what you're doing with your yoga practice. It's not just how do I feel good today, but it's how do I understand my journey back to the center, my journey back to peace, and what it feels like to be in that space that's not quite fully there, but it's bringing peace into where you are here, right? That's what we're learning, is how do you bring that peaceful center into where you are right now? Yeah. So comfortable seat, if you're not there already. Letting the eyes close for a moment, and even just giving yourself a visual sense or an internal sense of right now in this moment with the way that you feel. Where is there a quiet place? Where is peace living? Where is peace existing? Or harmony, or whatever word you want to insert there if peace doesn't work. Where is there just quiet? And wherever that happens to be, put your attention there. And with your attention there, can you feel that space start to just expand? Even if it was a tiny corner, little tiny space in your mind that seems quiet. Like you're blowing up a balloon. Breathe that space bigger. So you feel your breath becoming a lot more expansive, larger. Whatever the moment that you're in, it's a moment in time, it's a moment in forever. So don't grab onto it. Keep the attention where there is that quiet. Breathe that bigger. And this is your challenge. Maintain the awareness on where there is quiet as you go through the class, as you go through the day. When you feel your mind spinning, breathe that quiet space bigger. Hands come together in front of the heart, palm to palm. We'll open sound of Om. Deep breath in. Let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands. Bring the hands to the knees or the thighs and start to cat-cow your spine. Good. Nice, you guys. Letting the hands be anchors on the knees or the shins so that you're really letting yourself move through the whole length of the spine. Good. Nice. Now move yourself a little faster. Good. No whipping your heads around. This is not head banging, right? Move your spine. Don't whip your head around. Good. Awesome, you guys. And then slowly come back to stillness, please. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Deep breath in. Take a twist to your right, left hand to right knee. Right hand comes back behind you. Soften the ribs, drop into your seat. You got it. And then as you're looking to the right, twist a little deeper, and then turn your gaze to the left. So look over the opposite shoulder. Good. And then come all the way back to center. Inhale, both arms up to the sky. Twisting the other way, right hand to left knee. Sorry, left hand comes back behind you. Again, softening the ribs, dropping into your seat. Good. Exhaling, navel draws in and up towards the spine. Twist a little deeper, looking to the left. And then turn your gaze back to the opposite shoulder over the right. Nice. And then come all the way back to center. Inhale, both arms up to the sky. Twist to the right again. Left hand to right knee. Right fingertips back behind you. Good. Softening the ribs. Drop into your seat. Good. Left hand stays where it is. Take the right arm up alongside your ear. Lean to the left side. Body stretch over that left thigh. Good. Again, using the left hand on the right knee. Drawing yourself in closer. Ribs pull. Shoulder moves towards that knee and then lean the opposite way. Good. And then as you come back to center, cross both arms. So just bring the other arm in front of you. So opposite hands to opposite knees, round your back, drop your chin towards your chest and pull up. So spine gets really long, but pull back into the wideness of your rib cage and pull those hands into your knees. Squeeze your hands into your knees and press your knees wide. Good. And then slowly release everything. Inhale, both arms up to the sky and twisting to the left, right hand to left knee, left hand back behind you. Good. Soften the ribs, drop down into your seat. Keep the right hand where it is. Take the left arm up, lean over to the right side, body stretch. Again, keep that right arm connected to the shoulder connected to your back. So you use that right hand on the left knee to drag yourself into the twist a little more. Pull the navel back. Good. And then as you come back to center, release the twist. Take both hands to opposite knees. Good. Drop your chin towards your chest. And again, pull your hands towards each other. So you're squeezing your hands into your knees. Your elbows might even bend. And then round into your back rib cage. Good. And then slowly release, please, coming all the way back up. Nice job. Good. So bring your feet in front of you, please. You might scoot forward on your mat if you're far back. Bend your knees, plant your feet in front of you. Good. Separate your feet as wide as your mat. Let your knees rock from right to left, so windshield wipers. Yep. Good. And then let the knees drop all the way to the right, please. As they drop to the right, turn your ribs, so walk the same direction until you are facing the back of your mat. Good. And come on down to your forearms. Yeah, so most of you have done this twist before. Yeah. Nice, you guys. So some of you, if you can really twist that deeply, you can almost drop onto your belly here, but it's nice to stay on the forearm so that you keep the chest nice and open. Good. And you're looking at allowing the top of that left hip to spin slightly forward and down towards the floor. So it's almost like it's internally rotating. There you go, Kristen. Good. Yeah, try not to drop the head. Keep it in line with your shoulders. Nice, Victoria. And breathe into that twisted place in your spine. So not just into the upper back where maybe it feels like breath can flow a little easier, but can you breathe into the space that's actually twisting? Good. Because the ease of practice is that when things are simple and our breath is not restricted or it's not hard for us to focus, it's great. We love that. But can you maintain that same awareness when it is difficult to focus? And things are happening very quickly, or it's fast paced, or your mind is in a tizzy. When you're twisted, can you still find that sense of quiet, that sense of center? Good. And then slowly bring yourself all the way back up to center, please. Nice. As you come all the way back up onto your seat, bring the bottoms of your feet together. Let your knees go wide, Baddha Konasana. Good. Flex the toes away from each other. Press the baby toes down to the floor so feet are really awake. And then reach underneath your ankles or your shins and pull up. So you're actually feeling like you're pulling your lower legs off the floor. So don't thread underneath. Reach around the top and grab. Good. So like you're pulling up on the ankles or the shins. Good. So as you pull up on the ankles, not your feet, pull up on the ankles or the shins, press your feet down and press your groins down. And you might feel like your knees pop up a little bit. So you're pressing groins down, feet down, but pull up on your shins. Good. And then bend the elbows wide as you come forward, forward fold. Keep that feeling of pulling up on your shins. Good. Keep pressing the baby toes into the ground. You got it. Nice. Curl those toes back a lot. Big toe mounds stay pressed together, but the toes curl back. Beautiful. Shoulders wide away from the ears. And then come all the way back up. Nice job. Good. Take the feet out in front of you. Again, bend your knees, feet as wide as your mat. Drop your knees to the left. And then walk yourself around. Find the twist. So you keep walking same direction as your knees until you're facing the back of your mat. Come on down onto your forearms. Good. And again, your positioning, it's nice to keep the feet as wide as the mat was, but if you need to adjust that for the rotation of how that top hip feels, if it feels like it's pulling uncomfortably, is you could slide that knee slightly towards the left heel or the left foot. So it's not such a wide angle. Good. And then again, can you breathe into the part of your spine that is actively twisting, not just above or below, but actually the middle. Beautiful, you guys. So it's so funny. My thinking process with this teaching today has really almost nothing to do with me. Nothing's happened. Usually what I'm teaching is what's going on with me. But I feel like today this thought is what I see going on in so many near me, not so much me. And that it's important, I think it's always important that we see that the world around us is essentially a reflection for ourselves. It's a reminder for ourselves. So what we see happening in another person is an automatic response of pay attention. Pay attention to how you respond to your life. Because if we're not in a state, and this is what yoga reminds us, is that if we're not in a state ourselves where we understand how to get back to that peaceful place, is we don't have that to offer back to the world. We don't have it. We can be supportive, but it won't be that feeling of real equanimity. It won't be that real feeling of peace. The reminder is you have to find your way back over and over again so that when it's you who's having the moment, you don't get to the end of it and say, I really should have forgot, totally forgot. So you get inspired, you get reminded by the world around you. Walk yourself all the way back to center. Please come back to your seat. Bottoms of the feet together, knees wide, Baddha Konasana. Try to remember that feeling. So again, curl the toes back, press baby toes down to the floor, press down through your groins or through your sit bones. So you're actually angling those groins down and in. So the hips rotate slightly inward. Good. So the knees pop up and then arms to the sky. So you're still doing the work in your feet, but now you're doing it without the use of your hands. That feeling of lifting the underside of your ankles. Good. And then send your butt leaning backwards as your torso leans forward. forward fold. Good. Keep your feet awake, toes curled back. Nice. Good. Reach, reach, reach. From your armpits, reach. Yes. And then let your hands come back down to the floor, please. Round into your back so the hands are touching something, but then round. Pull your ribs back and in. Good. And then walk your hands back in, please. Nice job. Cross the ankles, roll forward to hands and knees. Find your way back to downward facing dog. Good. Pedal the feet just a little bit. Nice. And then bend both knees a lot. As you drop your knees towards the floor, pull your hips back so that your legs stay in that down dog kind of position, but bent knees, and then cat-cow your spine. Good. Our suggestion is don't wait until you have a disaster in your own life to start paying attention. Don't wait until you're in a moment of crisis to say, maybe there was a peaceful place that I could have found earlier. Don't wait. So I say being aware of the world around you is that you're receiving cues all the time of what to pay attention to. So you cultivate every day with your practice, finding my way back over and over again, bringing peace into this moment over and over again. And all of its imperfections so that I recognize it in all of its strangeness when it's actually my turn that I have to find it. Good. Come back to stillness. Take the legs towards straight. Nice job. And then step the right foot forward between the hands, lunge. Good. Drop the back heel. Baby toe parallels the back of your mat. Take the arms up to warrior two, shoulders over the hips. Good. Front knee is over the front ankle. Come up onto the ball of your front foot. So lift your front heel and then really focus on pressing the big toe mound down to the floor. Yep. Yeah. And lifting that right hip point a little higher. Nice. And then send that knee directly over the ankle. So let the hips descend. Awesome. Good. Big toe mound, Sarah. Yeah. So it's, yep. Angle the weight in towards the inside edge of that foot. Good. And then press that heel down to the floor. As the heel presses down, drag backwards, like you're dragging that front heel towards your back heel. Good. You should feel the back of your thigh wake up. And then left hand drops down the back thigh, right hand reaches up and back, reverse warrior. Nice job. Don't let your awareness go away from that front thigh. Front knee is over the front ankle. Good. And then bring yourself back to center, please. Arms wide, beautiful. Cartwheel the hands down to the floor, please. Spin your back heel up and then keep that heel off the floor as you start to straighten your front thigh. You can use blocks here if you need. So the back heel stays lifted as you straighten the front leg, hips facing straight ahead. Good. Squeeze the legs towards each other, pull up through your low belly. Nice. And try and feel big toe mound of that back foot, big toe mound of the front foot. Lift and spread the toes of your front foot. Yeah, lift them and keep them lifted though. There you go. And squeeze the ball of the foot and the heel towards each other so that you feel like the arch of your foot is actually squeezing. Nice. And then release the toes back to flat, please. Bend your right knee again. Come back to lunge. Left hand plants right arm to the sky, spinal twist. Good. Feel like that back shin is hugging towards the midline of your mat. So there's a squeezing inward. Nice, nice, nice. Take the right arm over the ear. Yep. Lift that back thigh a little higher. Nice job. And then release that hand down to the floor, please. Good job. Step the left foot in just a little bit. Take both legs to straight, Parsvottanasana. Use blocks underneath the hands again if you need. Good. Left hip spins forward. Right low belly pulls wide. Good. Again, finding the breath through the whole length of the leg. Not just where it's convenient to feel it, but where you feel everything. Good. And it's our constant reminder in our yoga practice that even though we might look for that little smidgen, the corner of ourselves that feels like it's quiet, is that as that expands, as the quiet begins to embrace everything. And this is what we really understand to be being at peace in any moment, is that it expands to embrace everything. It's not away from what's going on, but it's interwoven into what's going on. So you start with that awareness of where you are quiet inside. You breathe it bigger until that quietness holds all of the chaos. It holds all of the intensity. One more breath in this pose that I know. It's in its name, intense. Good. And then bend that right knee, please. Step back to downward facing dog. Go ahead, slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Go ahead, lower down slow to your belly, coming through knees first if you need. Forehead to the floor, take your hands back behind you, point your toes. Interlace the fingers at your low back. Good, shrug the shoulders up towards your ears, squeeze the upper arms towards each other, so up towards the ceiling. Good, keep the elbows bent here if you'd like, or start to straighten the arms, and lift head, neck, and chest. So keep the feet anchored to the floor, so a little bound cobra. Good. Tops of the thighs pull forward and up. So again, the back bend is not just happening from your navel and up, it's pulling from your thighs, rib cage in. Good. And then lift those hands off of your butt just a tiny bit, even if your elbows are bent. Nice. Good, Joanne. And then slowly release. Nice, Harriet. Hands to the floor, please. Press up to hands and knees. Come back, child's pose, knees wide. Good. Breathe very deeply. And we practice finding the moments of quiet or the space that is quiet, so that when we really need it, we know the way back to it. It's not elusive. It doesn't seem like it disappeared. The more we are aware that it is there constantly, interwoven with everything else going on, as we shift our mind's ability to go from the moment of reaction or the experience of reaction to the experience of the quiet. And maybe it doesn't get us away from whatever is happening that is triggering us, but it gives us the ability to be there in a more peaceful way, to respond instead of react. Walk yourself back up to hands and knees, downward facing dog. And again, I hope you've heard this teaching or these things said at least 20 times in your life. And if you haven't, then you can start counting now. But even if you've heard it 20 times, I hope you hear it 20 more times so that it becomes something that you live by. Left foot steps forward between the hands. Good. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Cartwheel the arms up to warrior two. Good. And then coming up on the ball of the front foot, so you lift your heel of the front foot and try and find where you are pressing into the big toe mound of that foot a little bit more strongly. Nice. You got to pull up through your rib cage here, because now you want to let your pelvis descend. So as you let your hips drop, you pull up through your side ribs, pull up through your spine. Nice. And then let that front heel come back down to the floor and drag back. So it feels like you're pulling your front foot towards your back foot, and lift and spread the toes of the front foot. Keep them lift and spread. So the ball of the foot is pressing down, but your toes are lifted. Yeah. So ball of the foot on the floor, Emily, just toes lift. And then squeeze ball of the foot and heel towards each other. Engage that arch. Engage the back of your thigh. Good. And then relax the foot, please. Right hand reaches down the back thigh. Left palm spins up and back. Reverse warrior. Nice. Keep that thigh moving towards parallel to the floor. Knee over the ankle. Good. And be happy that you don't still have your heel lifted off the floor. Come all the way back up to center, please. Arms wide. Good. Cartwheel the hands down to the floor. Spin your back heel up. Grab your blocks if you need them. And keeping that back heel lifted, straighten your left thigh. Good. So you're pulling your hips up towards the ceiling, squeezing the feet towards each other, paying attention on both feet that you are pressing through the big toe mound of the foot a little bit more powerfully. Good. So that's so that the inner edge of the leg gets a little bit more, it gets a little bit stronger, stabilizing. And the outer thigh, the outer edge of the leg gets a little bit more stretched. Lift and spread the toes of your front foot again. There you go. Ball of the foot stays on the floor. You're just lifting the toes. Good. And then let those toes relax again. Nice job. Bend the left knee, bring the knee back over the ankle. Right hand plants left arm to the sky, spinal twist. Good. Feel as though that back shin is squeezing in towards the midline of your mat. So again, you're creating stability. Good. Left arm to the sky there, Alana. You got it. Good. Don't let that front knee fall open, please. And then take your left arm over the ear. Good. So you're reaching as long through your side body as you can. As you reach over the ear, pull your hips slightly back in space, lift your back thigh higher, and then scoop your belly and put your front knee back over your front ankle again. There you go. Good. Heart open nice and high. Nice, Elisa. And then release that hand down to the floor. Really good, Alana. Good. Step yourself back, please. Actually, step your right foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight. Sorry. Parsvottanasana. Almost forgot your favorite pose. One of my favorite poses. Good. Outer right hip spins forward. And it is funny, right? When you start yoga, is typically you would say your favorite pose is the one that feels really easy and it's fun to do. So realistically, my favorite pose is probably handstand. Because it's fun. I don't have to think about it too much. But then the more you practice, you find that the poses you really fall in love with are the ones that make you consider. So I find this pose has become one of my favorites because every single time I'm in it, I have to consider what I'm doing. I have to pay attention. I have to look for where is there the peaceful way to be in this position. And I have to feel that peace exists at the same time that there's a little bit of intensity. So I think with these teachings is it's meant to give us the ability to fall in love with our life that same way, is to take those moments that feel so intense and instead of trying to just get past them, we start to try and understand them. And in trying to understand them, we start to comprehend our own inner equanimity, our own inner environment. One more breath, really squeeze the feet together, push your hips to the sky. Big toe mound roots down, both feet. Good. And then bend that left knee, please. Step back, downward facing dog. Good. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Nice. Holding that plank pose, if you need to bring the knees down to the floor, you can, but ideal if you can stay lifted and just start to rock forward and back. So send your shoulders forward and then press your heels back. So again, you're stretching through the calves, through the ankles to rock yourself forward and back. And again, if you need to bring the knees to the floor, you can extend one leg, do it with one leg first, rocking forward and back, and then do the other. Good. Nice, you guys. Then find what feels like you're in the middle where you are pulling the feet and the hands towards each other. You're extending out through your heels, but you're pulling forward with your collarbones. Awesome. And then lower down to the floor slow. Maintain that feeling of squeezing in and pressing out. Good. Point the toes back behind you when you find your way onto your belly. Beautiful. Rise up to cobra, lift head, neck, and chest. Yeah, tops of the thighs, pull forward and up, spread through the tops of your feet. Beautiful. And then release back to your belly, press up to hands and knees. Come back child's pose for a breath or two. Knees wide. In your child's pose, spread your toes. So the tops of your feet get really wide. Let yourself walk towards the right thigh and then towards the left thigh. So not a walk to one side and stay there, but walk to the right and then back towards center and walk to the left. Like you're sweeping the floor. And I have this lovely thought, if you've ever heard of the Jain religion, where literally the practitioners, they are so focused on their not causing harm to any being, even the ones that they can't see easily, as they walk around either with veils over their face, or they might have a little brush that they brush the ground in front of them so they don't accidentally step on anything. Well, that might seem like, okay, you're not going to adopt that kind of habit. But can you start to pay attention to the world with that much awareness? Come back to center, please. Pause. And even if you can't pay attention to the world that way, can you pay attention to yourself that way? So that you are never at a loss for where your center is or where peace exists or where there's quiet inside. You're always able to find it and you're always able to bring it into the moment that you're in. Come back up to hands and knees, downward facing dog. Good. Step the right foot forward between the hands, please. Lunge. Good. Both hands come inside the front foot. Good. Walk your hands towards straight ahead. So keep the shoulder inside the knee, but walk your hands forward for lizard pose. So you're hugging that shin in towards the side body or towards the shoulder. And then you're squeezing that left inner shin in towards the midline, but then push your thighs wide. Yep. So the lower leg, lower body is hugging in, but the top of the thighs, the pelvis is actually widening. And then hands on the floor, lift your chest, pull back on your hands and feel like you're pulling your chest forward. That's really lizard pose, right? Is that extension of your spine. Good. Don't let your hips drop lower than your shoulders. Nice. Good. One more breath. I know. And walk your hands back in. Good job. Step your left foot in just a little bit. Take both legs to straight. Parsvottanasana. Use blocks under the hands if you'd like. Nice, you guys. And then for fun here, come up on the heel of that front foot. Pull the toes up and back. And as you are lifting up onto the heel, so you feel the intensity of that, right? Pull that thigh bone up and in, and then press back out through the big toe mound of your foot. So like you're on a gas pedal. So you're not just pulling straight up, but you're pressing out almost between a point and a flex. So you're pointing out through the ankle, but pulling up through the toes. Good. One more breath. And then release the foot flat to the floor, please. Nice job. Take your hands to your hips. Come all the way up to stand. Good. Interlace your fingers back behind you. Good. Reset the pelvis. Left hip spins forward, right hip spins back. And as you do that, notice that the weight of the front foot rolls towards the baby toe edge of your foot. Don't pretend it didn't. It did. Root down through that big toe mound again, even though you're still pulling that outer hip back. So we're correcting this tendency of the legs to get twisted with our habits. So we're untwisting. So maintain this the best you can. Squeeze your feet towards each other. Bow forward over that front thigh. Take the arms up any amount. Again, the trick is here is that the shins are squeezing towards each other, but the thighs are separating. Press them wide, right and left. Good. So you create stability, not by just squeezing in one direction, but by creating that alternating energy, pressing wide, squeezing in. Beautiful. Release the hands down to the floor. Nice job. And then step back, downward facing dog. Good. Vinyasa, if you'd like, child's pose if you prefer. If you're doing the vinyasa, slide forward to plank, lower down to your belly, rise up cobra or upward facing dog, wherever you're at today. Nice. And then press back, downward facing dog as you are ready. Good. Left foot steps forward between the hands, lunge. Both hands come inside the front foot. Keeping the shoulder close inside that knee, walk yourself straight ahead. So again, you're not going on the diagonal here, you're going straight ahead. And you're squeezing your left butt cheek, right? So first move the hip in so that you have this concept of where the midline actually is. Good. And then you're squeezing that back shin in towards the midline. Big toe mound of the front foot anchors down, but your inner thighs are pushing wide. Good. So try and separate the sit bones, separate the inner thighs, but then squeeze both shins in. Nice. And then lift up onto your fingertips, lengthen your spine, drag back on the hands. So your chest is pulling forward, but you're pulling your tailbone back towards that back heel. Good. Don't let your left butt cheek pop out to the side. Midline. Inner thigh goes wide, but your butt doesn't swing out. Good. Nice, you guys. Walk the hands back in, please. Step your right foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight, Parsvottanasana. Good. Again, blocks underneath the hands. Great thing. And then start to come up on the heel of the front foot. So lift the toes up off the floor. Good. Drawing in and up through the top of that thigh. So to take the foot off of the floor isn't just to pull backwards and let the weight fall into your knee. It's as the toes rise up, it's a full action of the leg, is that you're squeezing that thigh up and in as the toes lift. Good. And then press out again through the big toe mound of the foot or through the ball of the foot. So like you're pressing on a gas pedal, or they say wearing a high heel, somewhere between a point and a flex. Press out through the ball of the foot and just lift and spread the toes. Good. And then take that foot back flat to the floor, please. Nice. Deep breath. Exhale. Drop into the pose. And then hands to your hips. Come all the way up to stand. Good. Interlace the fingers back behind you again. Reset. So you're sending that outer right hip spinning forward, top of your left hip spins back, and then press through the big toe mound of your left foot and just notice the little push and pull that happens there. Good. Make sure your front knee is not locking back, that already you have this feeling of widening the inner thighs, squeezing the feet towards each other. Good. Begin to bow forward, stretching the arms up and over any amount. Try to keep your pelvis facing in this same orientation. Right hip spinning forward, outer left belly and hip going slightly wide. Big toe mound of the left foot presses down. Squeeze the feet towards each other. Good. Inner thighs wide. Push your butt back. Nice, Lisa. Really pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up. Good. Nice, Anastasia. And then release the hands down to the floor. Nice job. And then step yourself back downward facing dog, please. Good. Drop down to your knees for a moment. Grab your block and place the block between your shins so that you can squeeze it between your shins. Good. So I'm contemplating that you could have it the narrowest, or you could take it slightly wider just so that you really have, I want to say take it the widest, not the widest, but the second widest. So almost like it's flat on the floor between your shins, just so that you have more space between your shins. There you go. And then hands to the floor, please. Yeah, don't sit on the block. Just squeeze it between your shins. Hands and knees with that block squeezed between your shins. Good. And then you're going to tuck your toes. Keep that block between your shins and come into downward facing dog. What? Yep. Good. So there's a hug of those shins in. And big toe mounds root down to the floor. Good. Slide yourself forward to plank pose. Keep that block between your shins. Good. Send those inner thighs and the block straight up towards the ceiling. Yeah. And then pull your chest forward more. Press out through your heels. Nice. And then lift your hips, press back downward facing dog, still hugging that block. Good. And then bring yourself forward to plank again. Beautiful. Sending those inner thighs up towards the sky, block up towards the sky. And then lower down to your belly, all the while trying to send your inner thighs up to the sky. Good. All the way to your belly, point the toes, keep squeezing the block between your shins, rise up cobra. Good. Press your shins down to the floor and also squeeze into the block. Nice. And then release, please. Press back downward facing dog, still hugging the block with your shins. Beautiful. Extra triple bonus. Look forward between your hands. Jump your feet to the top of your mat, still holding that block between your shins. Yeah. Nice. Good. Yeah, Lisa, you get 10,000 bonus points for doing all those jumps. Good. Squeeze the block between your shins, please. Straighten the legs. And then take your hands to your hips. Come all the way up to stand. Beautiful. Arms up alongside your ears. Bend your knees. Drop back chair with the block between your shins. Good. Let your butt move back in space so your weight is centered more on your heels. And then hands to heart center, please. Prayer twist. Right elbow to the outside of your left knee. Good. Rotating your heart towards your hands. So instead of thinking, can I pull my hands to my heart, is can I draw my ribs in and lift my chest up into my hands? Good. Come back to center. Don't change your chair. Twist the other way. Left elbow to the outside of the right knee. And same thing, your weight is moving back towards your heels, but can you draw in from internally? Draw your ribs up and lift your heart towards your hands. Good. Weight on both feet. Come back to center, please. Nice job. Hands to the floor, straighten the legs and bow. Beautiful. You can place your block to the side nicely. Good. And then step your right ankle in front of your left. Cross-legged forward fold, right ankle in front of left. Bending your knees just a little bit. Again, blocks underneath the hands here if you need them. So the knees bend slightly, your shins move forward. You can feel yourself pressing into your heels, right? Really feel the connection of your ankles to your calves. Good. And then stretch the legs to straight by pulling your hips up towards the sky. And dropping yourself into the forward fold deeper. Good. Big toe mound of both feet. Press down. Awesome. Good. And then slowly release. Step that foot back underneath the right hip. Switch the forward fold. So take the left ankle in front of the right. Good. Again, this subtle feeling of the shins moving forward. So bending the back knee especially so that everything can soften forward. Rebalancing the pelvis on top of the heels, not behind the heels. Good. And then as you start to lift your butt up towards the sky and press down through your heels, the legs will come any amount that they can towards straight, but there's no pushing backwards into the knees. Good. Nice, you guys. Big toe mounds of both feet. Nice. Unwind the ankles, please. Come back to that parallel stance. Bring your hands to your hips. Come all the way up to stand. Good. And then place your block in front of you, flat on the floor, so that you can stand on it. So 1 foot at a time. So flat, vertical, so that it's facing long on your mat. Good. And you're going to step onto your block with your right foot. So step up onto the block with your right foot and then hover the left foot up off the floor. So your right foot is on the block, left foot is hovering level with your right foot. Good, in space. There you go. So again, you got to do that work through the hips and through the inner thighs. Nice job. Hands can be at your hips or they can be up alongside your ears, whichever you prefer. Good. Start to bring that left leg forward, like you're going to bring it parallel to the floor. So slide it forward all the way up as high as it will go. Doesn't matter how high it goes. What matters is that you're working the muscles that get it there while also balancing on the block. So take the top of your right thigh back in space as you lift the left leg up. Nice. Good, Anastasia. Good, Sarah. And then bring that leg back down level with the right. Don't put it on the floor. And then start to slide that leg back behind you, coming into warrior 3 on the block. So letting your chest come forward as your left leg comes up. Good. Keep turning that left hip down towards the floor. Baby toe down towards the floor. Good, Lisa. Good, Debbie. Widen your inner thighs here, you guys. Widen, widen, widen. Break that left foot wider to the left. Wah. Good. And then come all the way back up. I know. Don't fall off your block. There you go. Good. Nice job. And then take that left leg straight out to the side, please. So take it wide, straight out, hips in line with each other. Toes continue to face straight ahead. So turn those left toes forward, forward, forward. Yup. Internally rotate that leg a bit. There you go. Good, Joanne. Good, Victoria. Nice, Anastasia. Bring it all the way back to center. Good, Emily. Good, Kristen. Beautiful. Now step down off of your block. I can guarantee you were paying attention during that sequence, right? When you have no choice, you will pay attention. Now, did you pay attention in a way where you felt really restricted and harsh, or did you pay attention in a way where you got softer around the effort? It's perfectly okay to acknowledge that it was number 1. Perfectly okay. This time, try to get softer around the effort. So the longer you are balancing, the softer you get around the effort. Yeah? All right, left foot steps up onto the block. Good. Right leg is hovering, or right foot is hovering in line with the left. So again, you've got to do that work through the inner thigh, outer hip. Good. Start to bring that right leg forward and up, level with the floor, parallel with the hip. As you do, send the top of your left thigh back. So don't let yourself lean backwards to counterbalance, as the shoulders should come slightly forward. Navel should draw in and up. So it's like you're hollowing the front of the body. Good. And then bring that leg back down, level with the left. Good. Start to come into warrior 3, taking the leg back behind you. As the leg comes back, your chest comes forward. They're connected to each other. So don't do one and then the other. Do them both together. As the leg lifts, the chest moves forward. Good. Nice, Elisa. Make sure you're turning those right toes down towards the floor. Send your inner thigh slightly wider to the right. Balance your weight. Good. And then come all the way back up. You got it, Kristen. Good. Hover that foot, please. And then keep the toes facing straight ahead. Take your right leg out wide to the right. Toes facing completely forward. So it's a little feeling of internally rotating from the hip. Toes completely forward. Good. And then squeeze the legs back towards each other. Nice, nice, nice. And then step down off of the block. Awesome. Give the legs a little shake. Good. This is why we practice balancing, not so that you get really good at holding your breath and holding one position, but so that you can move. So that the legs are aware of what they need to do when you're standing on one foot, and they automatically can do it. So you can move through your life freely and not have to hold your breath. Get softer with your effort. All right. So off the block, right foot standing leg, bring your left knee up in towards your chest. Good. And then take that knee wide for tree pose. Bring the bottom of the foot to the inside of the right leg, wherever it naturally can rest. Good. And then as you place that foot, press the inner edge of your right thigh or your right leg, wherever it is resting, into the foot. So you're not just placing the foot, but you are pushing both into the middle line as they're pressing against each other. Feel your foot go wide, spread through the toes of your standing leg. Good. And then take the arms up to the sky, please. Yep. Bringing the left hand to your left knee or your left thigh, lean to the left, lean over that leg. Yeah. Beautiful. Nice, Laura. Good, Anastasia. Good, Sarah. Good, Elisa. Come all the way back up. Yeah, don't lose it now. Good. And then spin that knee forward. Yes, and release it back down to the floor. Good job. Awesome, you guys. Set up for the other side. So after you've shook out whatever just happened, left leg, standing leg, bring your right knee up and towards your chest. Good, bring the knee wide. And then placing the right foot to the inside of the left leg, find tree pose on the second side. Watching that as you set that foot, that you're not letting your left hip completely rotate forward, and completely okay to acknowledge that, yes, every time you're in tree, you do that. Pull it back. It's going to feel like your right knee comes more towards the midline. You're going to say, it doesn't feel like as great of a tree pose, more realistic tree pose. You can work with this, right? You got to get the pelvis to be stable first. Good. And then take the arms to the sky when you've got it. Again, you are pressing the foot and the leg against each other and pulling up through your lowest place of your belly. So the whole spine is lifting. Good. Right hand reaches for right thigh or knee. Lean to the right, taking that left arm over to the side. Good. And as you lean, try not to push your left hip too far out to the left. So a little bit to counterbalance is fine, but don't do the action by sinking that hip out to the left. Keep drawing in towards the midline. Good. Come back up to center, please. Again, getting taller as you do. Beautiful. Spin the right knee forward and step it down. Good. Do a little jump in place. Bounce. Work out your feet. Awesome. And then come back to stillness, please. Good. Bring the feet together if you can. Well, I know you can. Bring the feet together. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Exhale, bow forward. Take the hands down to the floor. Good. And then come up on your tippy toes, please. Here's where it becomes if you can. Bend your knees, drop your hips down towards your heels. So you're in like a little squatting chair pose, right? If that doesn't work for you, right, you can come back into a normal chair pose, heels flat on the floor. And then take your arms up to the sky. Balance. Hands to heart center, please. Prayer twist, right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Nice. Yeah, or go whichever way you're going. Don't obsess about it. Try and keep the knees together. Good. Come back to center. Don't lose your squat. Go to the other side. Right elbow outside of left knee. Good. You don't have to stay high on the balls of your feet. Just keep the heels lifted. Nice. And then come back to center, please. Beautiful. Hands to the floor, straighten the legs and bow. Really good. That was nice, Debbie. Good, you guys. Step the right leg back behind you, please. Drop that knee to the floor. Use a blanket if you'd like. Inhale, both arms to the sky, Anjaneyasana. Good. One more prayer twist, hands to heart center. Right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Again, breathing into the place in the spine that is twisting, widening the inner thighs, but feeling that the back heel, the back shin is hugging in towards that imaginary midline. Right? Being able to maintain a focus on center, even though you can't see where is center. Breath can feel the center. Shins can feel the center. You have an awareness of where your steadiness exists and how to come back to it. Good. Come back to center, please. Arms to the sky. Deep breath in. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor. Nice job. Lift the back knee up. Step your right foot in just a little bit. Parsvottanasana. Good. Should feel a little different than it did the first time. You're like, yeah, gratefully. This is practice. We come back to the same things over and over and over again so that we can feel ourselves becoming more at home, more at peace in so many different various states of mind, states of body. And it's not just so that your body gets good at the pose, it's so that your mind gets good at finding peace, finding quiet. Good. Bend that front knee, please. Step back, downward facing dog. Vinyasa if you'd like, child's pose if you prefer, or hang out in dog. If you're doing the vinyasa, you're sliding forward to plank, lowering down to your belly, rising up cobra or upward facing dog. No flinging your heads back. And then downward facing dog when you get there. Good. Right foot steps forward between the hands. Drop the back knee, please. Use a blanket there if you'd like. Arms to the sky, Anjaneyasana. Hands to heart center, prayer twist, left elbow to the outside of the right knee. And again, you're finding this place where the inner thighs are widening, the heel, the inner shin is drawing in towards that midline. And you're lifting your heart up to your hands, not trying to bring your hands down to your heart. That's it. Nice, Victoria. Good, Alana. Nice, Emily. Come back to center, please. Arms to the sky. Breathe in deep. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor. Nice job. Lift the back knee up. Step that left foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight. Parsvottanasana. Intense side stretch. Good. Watching your mind try to make sense of intense moments, and instead of trying to make sense of the details being within the moment, is can you feel where that quiet place exists even as your mind is spinning? And as soon as you can keep the awareness there, that's the benefit of practice, is you can keep your awareness there, you breathe it bigger. The reaction feels smaller, less all encompassing. You do it over and over and over again so that when things really feel out of control, is you automatically know how to reach for that. And you're really wondering, what do I do next? You automatically know how to reach for that. Good. And then bend the right knee, please. Step yourself back downward facing dog. Good. Drop down to hands and knees, please. Separate the knees nice and wide. Come back, child's pose. And then walking yourself back up. So I do want to give you the opportunity to do an inversion. My suggestion, if I had you here and had walls, is I would have you doing hanging split. So where you come into down dog split with your foot on the wall and then work to walk your hands back and lift the foot on the floor off of the floor. So you're in that hanging split handstand position. So if you have wall space and you want to attempt that, that is my suggestion. It's what I would have you do if you were in the studio with me. If that's not happening today, or you would prefer not to do that, any inversion is a good choice. So handstand, headstand, walking your feet up the wall into L-shaped handstand, putting a block underneath your butt and doing supported shoulder stand that way is great. Using the wall, legs up the wall and coming into shoulder stand is great. Straight up legs up the wall is great. Find an inversion for yourself. And again, if you're doing the one that I was suggesting is you're finding down dog with your heels on the wall, take one leg up into down dog split, and the ball of that foot is on the wall. So you have your foot to push into. Really good version, Lisa, I like that. And then you're walking your hands slightly back and then letting your armpits come forward, scooping your belly, scooping your ribs, push into that foot that's on the wall, lift your butt higher and let that hanging leg hang. So you're taking the foot off of the floor. Nice, Sarah. Good. Keep your gaze at least neutral with your arms, maybe even looking slightly forward towards your fingertips, just because that's really training the upper body for inverting without the wall. Awesome. And then go ahead and give yourself a break. Make sure you try the other side if you're doing a variation like that. Good. And when you're ready, again, you'll come back to downward facing dog, heels on the wall, take the other leg up into down dog split, again, toes tucked under, and then walking your hands back just a tiny bit so that your armpits can come forward and you scoop into the low place of your belly, your ribs, float that hanging foot off of the floor. Nice. Good, you guys. And then when you feel complete with that, come on down. If you are in a different inversion, take another breath or two. And find yourself coming back down either to lie on your back or to take a moment in child's pose or virasana if you are just in a handstand or a headstand variation. Good. Then everyone slowly find your way onto your back or mindfully find your way onto your back. Good. Draw the right knee in towards your chest, please. Take the knee across your body, spinal twist. So right knee comes over the body. Right arm extends out wide. Good. And then see if you can take your left leg that's extended down towards the bottom of your mat, bend the knee, kick your heel in, reach back for the foot or the ankle. So try for that quad stretch. Good. If reaching for the foot doesn't make any sense, that's fine. Still bend the knee and just don't reach for the foot. Good. And then the only thing that I will give you as a true option here is if you want to, you can continue to hold behind that right thigh and extend that leg out to straight, maybe even reaching for the foot if that's a possibility. Good, nice, Joanne. Good, Victoria. Even as you're doing that, make sure that the left foot is relaxed on the floor. So the one that's in the quad stretches, don't go tensing through the left leg, trying to get the right leg to do something. Good. Draw your low navel in so it feels like you are pressing from the front of your abdomen into the lower back. So you're supporting the spine. You're not letting everything fall forward into the twist. Nice. And then release that quad stretch, please. Let the left leg come back to straight. Draw the right knee back in. Good. Come back to where you began. Right knee in towards your chest, left leg extended out on the floor. And then turn, you're not done with that leg. Turn your right shin parallel, like you're in pigeon pose on your back. So you're reaching for the foot with your left hand. Right hand can come to the outer knee, can come really wherever it wants, but lift that shin like you're in pigeon pose on your back. Good. Nice. If you can keep that left leg extended flat on the floor, do that. And as you flex that foot, right, press your foot into your hand. Yeah, so you have that pressure that helps you keep the knee nice and wide, but at the same time activates the shin. Good. Scoop your right low belly and really root that side of your sacrum down to the floor. Good. And then hand that foot or that ankle into your right hand, please, and come into half happy baby. So stack the heel on top of the knee. Good. If the elbow is inside the knee, you can bend the elbow just a little bit. So you push that inner knee slightly wide and you draw that shin slightly in. So you're angling the shin in and letting your knee go wider. Good. So Joanne, angle your shin in a little bit more. There you go. Yep. Beautiful. Nice, Sarah. Good, Debbie. Good, Harriet. Good, Laura. Good. Bring that knee all the way back in towards your chest, please. Straight in, squeeze. And as you're squeezing in, push your shin back against your hand. So again, you're engaging the thigh, like you're lifting your thigh up off of your belly. And press your low back down to the floor at the same time. Good. And then slowly release that squeeze and send the right leg all the way down. Good. Probably feels like it belongs to a different body than the left leg at this point. I promise they're both yours. Bring the left knee in towards your chest. Good. Come into your spinal twist, bringing the left knee across your body, stretching out through the left arm or the left shoulder, maybe taking the arm up over the ear if that feels better. And then if you can, or definitely try, go for the quad stretch. So the right knee bends, take the heel in. Again, you don't have to reach back for the foot, but just by bending the knee and sliding the knee back just a little bit is you're going to start to feel a little bit more stretch on the front of that thigh. So even if you're not reaching for the foot, bend the knee and try and create that length on the thigh from the pelvis. Good. And then it is optional, holding behind that left thigh. If you want to take that left leg to straight, go ahead and bring it straight. You can reach for the ankle or the foot if that's available. Try to draw the top of your left hip away from your armpit or away from your rib cage. So it's going to feel like you're actually pulling it down towards the bottom of your mat. And then from the front of your belly, soften back and in towards your sacrum. So it's going to feel almost like you're trying to push your butt back into an imaginary wall. Good, you guys. One more breath. And then slowly start to unwind, letting the right leg come back to straight, release the quad stretch, and then bring that left knee back in towards your chest as you come out of the twist. Good. And then turn your shin. So it's like you're in pigeon on your back. So reach for the ankle or the foot with your right hand. Knee goes wider than your hip. Good. And because you're not bearing weight here, you can really sort of play with the angle of that hip, what it will allow. You can circle the leg in the hip socket a little bit and see where there is the ability to keep your knee nice and wide, but angle the shin, right? Actually work the feeling of pigeon. And then nice to have that right hand up against the flat of your foot. Push your foot into your hand, press your hand into your foot. Good. So again, that pressure of having something to push into as you also try and draw your left knee wide to the left might give you this feeling that you can bring your shin up closer towards your chest just a little bit. Keep the knee nice and wide. So Joanne, let your knee go a little wider. There you go. Good, you guys. Nice, Sarah. Good, Victoria. Nice, Kristen. Hand that left foot into your left hand, please, or ankle. And then stack the left foot on top of the knee, half happy baby. Good. So again, here, the trick is the knee has to be wider than your shoulder. So you're widening the knee, but then you're letting your shin start to angle slightly in. Good. And that's going to really set the rotation of your thigh. Good. Yeah, so draw that shin in a little bit more, Joanne. Inward, inward, inward. There you go. And then press down through that right side of your sacrum. So don't lean over to the left. Yep, rebalance. Nice. If you are pulling your left knee down towards the floor, stop. Reset your pelvis, right? Set the right side to the floor and let the left knee descend into the hip socket, or let the left thigh descend into the hip socket. right? That knee will go closer to the floor when it's good and ready. Don't pull on it. Anchor your pelvis. Good. Nice, you guys. And then bring that knee all the way back in towards center, please. Squeeze it straight in towards your chest. As you're squeezing that shin in, press your shin back against your hand. So again, it's almost like you are trying to imagine that you're in a lunge on your back. So flex the foot, press your shin against your hands, but keep trying to pull the knee in. And press your left side low back down to the floor. Good. And then slowly release. Place that left foot down to the floor. Bend your right knee as well. Plant both feet. Good. Single bridge pose. So set your arms however you'd like, straight arms or bent into robot arms. Press down into the feet. Feel yourself dragging back on your heels. Knees move forward, butt moves forward. Then rise up into bridge, keeping your weight anchored on all four corners of the feet. Big toe mounds, baby toe mounds, inner outer heel. Good. Maybe even trying to feel if you can have the arches of your feet really awake. So that subtle squeeze of the ball of the foot and the heel. And then try to spread wide through the tops of your feet, spread wide through your toes at the same time. Heels pressed down. Good. One more breath, lengthen the spine, pull your heart in one direction and your hips in the other. And then slowly release the hips down to the floor. Beautiful. Bring the knees in towards your chest. Scoot your hips over to the left, drop your knees to the right. Final spinal twist. I think we do this pose so often at the end of class that we should just rename it final spinal twist. It's always the last one. Good. Come back to center, please. Scoot your hips over to the right, drop your knees to the left. Again, trying to keep the knees in line with each other and the knees hip height or higher. Good. Again, that hip height brings a neutrality to the pelvic bones, and then you can press back into your seat again to really get into opening the lower back. Come back to center, please. Hug the knees in. Forehead can come up to meet your knees if you'd like. Curl. And then slowly release, stretching the legs out in front of you, arms alongside you, palms up. Shavasana. You look for that little corner of quiet and you breathe it as wide as you can. So there's no escaping. There's just taking the moment that you're in and bringing peace to it, bringing quiet to it. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath. Letting the body begin to stretch, move in whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest and roll to your right side. And take a moment there before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm, or whatever mudra has been really working for you. A reminder, and again, we've heard this 1,000 times, is that whatever you do on your mat or your meditation cushion is like riding a bike with training wheels. That this is the easy part. Is that you learn to do it here, find the quiet inside here to deal with your own reactions here, so that when you're out in the world, you always know how to find your way back to that. So the real practice is when you leave your mat. The real practice is when you leave your house or your room or your personal space and you find yourself immersed with others. So we practice when we feel like we don't need to for anyone else. We're always doing this for our own sense of peace. But we practice when we think we don't need it, so that when we do, it's automatic, it's there. We know our way back. We get out of trouble faster. Not that we don't get into it, but we get out faster. And it means that you start to become that person or that feeling or that influence in the world where when the craziness comes around to you like hot potato, through you, it becomes transformed into something useful, becomes transformed back into peace, something that will bring peace. But it can't do that if you don't know what peace feels like yourself, if you don't know what balance feels like yourself, if you don't know where your center is. So we practice so that we can hold that, not just for the center of our own life, our own world, but for the world in general. So when it's you who needs it, you know your way back. And when it's the people around you who need it, you're able to be that force or that space where what they're going through becomes transformed back into the way to peace. So deep breath. You have to do it over and over again and keep finding where center is. Breathe it wide. We'll close with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste, everybody. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week. Just a heads up this weekend, Easter Sunday, regular classes. Linda's teaching her 8 a.m. yin. I'll be teaching my regular 9:30 class. The only thing that's not on this Saturday is meditation. So I'm not doing meditation this Saturday. And then we'll be back the following week, okay? But regular classes in the morning.